welcome into Force Takeaways. Hot F coming at you right now, live in your freaking face. It is.
You hear the tapes? They're sizzling.
A miracle was performed, folks. We got the juiciest podcast fodder imaginable, right in the sort of dead period leading up to the draft, when we were struggling to come up with things to talk about. We were blessed with photos leaking of Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel and NFL insider Diana Rossini holding hands and sitting next to each other in a hot tub at an adults-only resort in Arizona. Tony Ballgame, Jake the Snake. Jake, you have the floor.
Man,
for Rossini Gate.
I am like so torn because I want to be like a normal person, all right, and be like, yeah, look, okay, she wasn't like the one. She didn't manufacture the AJ Brown stuff. He did that. He was making a stink on his own. I want to be a normal guy, but after the Jalen Hurts character assassination that was defended by a bunch of capital J sports journalists, including a lot of the Eagles podcast guys that I like, they even had Jeremy Fowler, that fucking spineless worm, on a couple of their shows. I'm pissed. And the entire season, like, I heard my favorite Eagles reporter is, of course, Sheil Kapadia.
Right.
And he has been doing, a lot of rubbernecking and mental gymnastics defending his colleagues. He defended Diana Rossini all year, and now he's like defending Jeremy Fowler and Tim McMahon, because I get it. They're his colleagues, and like journalists have this weird complex where they're
blood in, blood out.
Yeah, people are always attacking us. We're a marginalized group. And it's like, well, when you're a sports journalist, yeah, because like you're essentially, sports journalism these days is tabloid journalism, and that's why we're kind of talking about this, right? That's why we're chomping at the bit to tear this probably innocent woman to shreds. But I'm a fan of a team that gets dragged into the sports media spotlight for really pointless shit all the time. It was the tush push. It's this AJ Brown stuff. It was Jalen Hurts, a really bad person because some disgruntled coaches that like admittedly said that they didn't know how to coach him or get him to run plays are upset because they looked bad, and it's easier to make a black quarterback look bad than take accountability. And he even admitted he copped. This is what really sent me over the edge. This week, he was like, it's good for team content. This is really good for content. But when you're drumming up this media shit, when you're manufacturing discontent and beating a dead horse, and you keep bringing stuff up, and you're driving the subjects of these stories crazy, and they're getting harassed, you're running people out of town. Is what you're doing, and you're destroying something really good that is really nice for people that work really hard and just want to in their lives and want to enjoy a nice team and maybe a nice little dynastic run. But there's something so dysfunctional about the Philadelphia sports media landscape.
You can have one small dynasty as a treat.
That like this, that the media. The media sphere around the team tears it apart from the outside in. And sometimes the inside out, I believe, for this Jeremy Fowler article. They can't just let it be and back off. Like, they have to, it's like Philly fans when they act crazy and they're like, well, that's our reputation, so we gotta be crazy. And, like, the media plays into that, too. And it's fucking insane and frustrating. You don't see other teams do this. And, like, Sheil even said on his show this week, he said, like, yeah, you don't really kind of get this with other teams, right? And like he was like joking and laughing with other reporters about it, but it's like, well, you're the one doing the thing, so just knock it the fuck off.
Yeah, it's like the I think you should leave hot dog costume meme. Totally, like,
yes, we're all looking for the guy who did this. Yes, and And they spent so long. It was like 2 or 3 times a week you would get articles about AJ Brown mad. Did AJ Brown say this? Is AJ Brown going to get traded? And then it morphed into AJ Brown Patriots, Patriots, Patriots. And she was the first one leaking like that information or like using like, per her sources, he's getting traded to the Patriots. Um, and it was just every week 3 or 4 stories about it. And as an Eagles fan, it's like, shut the fuck up. Right. Why do we have to can we just let things happen? It's like, it's like you have a friend and his marriage is falling apart and you don't just let it fall apart. Like you kind of have you get them riled up. You're riling up both sides to entertain yourself is what it feels like.
Yeah.
And now this happens and there's no defense of what she's done. And I think that it's fucking disgusting because it's a really bad look. One, and I don't know if I believe that she is fucking Mike Vrabel and trying to get life to imitate art by writing AJ Brown traded the Patriots so it happens because that's her fucking boyfriend and he'll be happy. I don't know if I quite believe that, but I do believe that she's fucking Mike Vrabel and is I don't know, feels encouraged. I don't know if encouraged is the right word to use or feels empowered to write this stuff. And then maybe he fucks her in different positions when she writes different articles. Maybe he does stuff that she likes because she nasty like that. I don't know. But it's just such a bad fucking look because there's a media landscape right now where it's the Pat McAfee and Barstool guys. And then there are people
they're
that
kings.
exactly right. It's the lowest common denominator.
They own the media landscape. I mean, did you see the big I mean, I don't give a shit about golf. I really could care less about fucking golf. But even I was even someone who was so far removed from golf world and golf space
that they won't let McAfee go to the Masters.
Well, stuff was coming across my timeline about the Jason Kelsey was stomping around doing a Pat McAfee, Burt Kreischer sort of bit on the Masters, and all these old school golf, not even old school golf people, but people our age are being get this fucking oaf off of my screen. They think the Masters is supposed to be some cherished and thing where everyone's with, because I mean it's kind of it's a little hard for me to be on the side of the people who want the Masters to be some grand spectacle, because it was literally black people were only allowed to
guys go.
Yeah, it's it was fully plantation level segregated until 1997 or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think it was Tiger Woods went and people were oh.
Yeah, it's called the Masters. I mean, come on, but it's essentially the Super Bowl for golf, pretty much, and people are mad that there's a beer swilling, fucking bare chested oaf stomping around and honking.
That's
and
a
hollering.
Different thing. That's disappointing. Is what Jason Kelsey has become as a media figure is really bad. But either way, there are those guys, and then there are the writers and the people that don't want to be content creators and they just want to write and report. And they hold themselves to such high standards, and they're always the first to talk about their ethics and their integrity, and they defend each other, and they're this tight-knit community, and they're no, we're academics and intellectuals, and we are the only ones that still have civility and grace in this decaying landscape, and we are hell-bent to uphold the sanctity of sports writing.
We are the lighthouse keepers of fucking democracy.
Pretty much, yes. It's the most limousine liberal mindset.
You work for NewJersey.com, buddy. Could you fucking pipe down a little bit?
Leading Green Nation. But yeah, and so I think it shows that those people are fucking full of shit, because anyone that defends her, any one of her colleagues that defends her, has zero integrity, and they're just a fucking shill for the idea of something that doesn't exist anymore, and that is pathetic. It's the unwritten baseball rule guys that get complain because they're oh man, that Puerto Rican fella has fun hair.
he wears his hat at like a 5 degrees to the wrong
Hey,
way.
pull your pants
What
up,
is he,
buddy.
a gangster street thug member?
Yes. Yes, it's that same attitude. Her integrity is fucking shot because even if it is harm, like the New York Times defended her, and it's like this is a harmless group of friends and blah blah blah. One, is that not an ethical question and a violation right there? Should a reporter who reports on the things be friends with the subject? Like first off, I like
Okay.
having a personal
Well,
relationship outside. No, just give me 1 second here. Outside of work like that, I think blurs lines. But having an intimate relationship, clearly, where you are holding hands in a hot tub, is not innocent, and I don't see other people. And you can say there are other people just outside the photo. It's like the Nathan Fielder tweet. I'm having so much fun with my friends. They're just outside
yeah.
the frame. But okay, journalist, show me, fucking show me, get sources and show me, because what I think is you're just lying. This is a PR move. You cannot be giving a guy an over the pants hand job in a fucking hot tub in Scottsdale, and then reportedly they're like caressing
I,
each other on a rooftop bar later that night. Like they're clearly fucking, and then just tell me this is innocent and it's getting taken out of context. Like you are talking once again, talking out of both sides of your mouth. You have zero fucking integrity. This entire industry has no integrity. I would rather watch Pat McAfee because at least he is at face value, knows he's a big boorish oaf idiot and leans into it. He doesn't pretend to be something he is not. He's not self-righteous. He's not self-important like all of these other reporters are. I think it's a major ethics violation. I think that it is a big fucking deal that a reporter should not be fucking a football coach who she has to, and that is a prominent figure that just went to the Super Bowl in the league that she covers. And then at the same time, her like writing these articles about something that hasn't even happened yet for his team. I think that it's just like it makes me feel crazy that this isn't a bigger deal because this is clearly such a big fucking deal. Like if you believe in the things in the sanctity of capital J journalism, this should disappoint you. It's just like that other person, that other journalist that was fucking all those politicians to get inside scoops. That was an ethics violation and she got fired. And now she's essentially banished from the industry. The same rule should apply here. And Vrabel should be in trouble too. Vrabel is a huge hypocrite. That he's always talking about morality and like doing the right thing. He has a family, he has kids, he has a wife. If I was shirtless in a hot tub holding hands with a lady
yeah.
by myself,
That
like
you work with.
in Florida, that I essentially work with, I would have a lot of questions to answer, and I probably
Oh
wouldn't be
yeah.
sleeping in my own house 4 months.
That was one of the first things I was gonna bring up was like anyone who either is married or like has a long-term partner. What would your partner think if photos came out of covertly meeting with a coworker, essentially alone, holding hands in that direct manner where they're like clasping all their fingers together, facing each other? It's like
They're so
for them to
horny.
just wave it off like, oh please, it was a
This
trip.
is
And like
nothing. Yeah.
first of all, I believe that is true actually. That it was her friends on a trip and he was there to do a scouting thing for
Some
Arizona
people
State.
fuck their friends. It's true.
But that's like I believe that that's the truth, but that's also like cover. That's like what people who cheat do is like, hey, I'm going to meet my friends at this thing. You should drive. You should come up some excuse to come out here and meet me. They'll be gone this whole day on Friday, and I can stay back. Like that's what fucking that's like a Mad Men episode, dude. Like give
Yeah.
me a break. And okay, and here's my sort of time to shine here is that
Hit me.
if like I'm not saying I disagree with you on the whole thing about it's an affront to journalism and it's an ethics violation, but and maybe I mean I don't want to be like blackpilled or like cynical or anything, but like there is so little actual capital J journalism going on in sports in general, especially the NFL. Like so much of what we perceive as NFL coverage is essentially paid for by the NFL. Like Diana Rossini does. She works. I guess she works for Athletic now. She
Yeah,
just
she
works for
works
the
for New
NFL.
York Times, the
She
failing
does.
New York Times.
The failing New York Times, the bad ratings New York Times once again.
They hate me. They don't like Jacob. They're writing all these articles about AJ Brown because they want to make me mad.
So I guess she doesn't technically get like a paycheck from the NFL, but like she is a crucial part of the NFL insider ecosystem, which is like, you know, being
Yes,
mad about an ethics violation in insider style NFL journalism is like going on the to me it's like going on the It's a Small World ride at Disneyland and being like, hey, I don't think some of these little kids are really singing. It's like
sure.
none of this was ever meant to be that. Okay, like she's not fucking winning a Pulitzer Prize doing what she's doing. Okay, like and none of these
Right.
people are. Schefter, Rappaport. I saw such a funny tweet that was like, Diana Rossini is giving sloppy top for like headlines, and it's still less degrading than what Adam Schefter does. Like none of this is. It's like it's just like once you've seen how the sausage is made, it's like I'm not really gonna sit
Right.
here and clutch my pearls about like,
I don't
oh,
disagree with you either.
how can we trust her, whatever, blah 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 anymore after this. It's like, whatever, man. Like they might not, like, they legit might not be like actually fucking, but just doing like weird long time married people in their 40s and 50s cheating shit, like making out or whatever. But like it's definitely weird, and uh
Yeah,
it,
it's definitely
it,
enough to break up a marriage or two.
and also we got to talk about all these clips that have come out of specifically Diana Rossini.
Wait, can I
People
say
seem to
one
be.
thing really quick? Can I say
Yes, yeah,
I
yeah.
just want I want to reiterate a point is that like I don't believe that Diana Rossini is like this like capital J journalist or like she does important work like she's not like reporting from the front lines of Vietnam or anything like that. But she demands to be treated that way, and all of her colleagues treat her that way. The rhetoric surrounding when anybody criticizes her work, all of these other guys, these other people that are her colleagues in the industry, rush to her defense. And while I think that is noble, because I would do the same thing, right? Ostensibly,
For
like
your homies, yeah.
if I saw my homie being attacked, I'd be pissed off, and in the back of my head, I'd be like, it's because she's a woman in a male dominated industry. I'm going to defend her. I'm going to use my voice to
Right.
push back some of these other male voices. I'm going to be a part of the positive change. Um, the fact that she wants to be and demands to be treated that way and has this kind of like layer of like colleague protection,
Prestige,
up,
yeah.
a prestige, upholding that, upholding um, those what am I trying to say? Um, Either way, sorry, I'm blind with rage right now. Um, I think there at least needs to be a reckoning where that shit stops. Just because you work for the New York Times and like you're soaked in this class and prestige, right? And this legacy. You work for a big legacy newspaper and you're not Pat McAfee. Doesn't mean you have integrity and you aren't a complete scumbag. And that like if you are engaging in an intimate relationship to get scoops and to get information, I think that does demean you in your profession. And I think it like I think it sets things back for other women in her position trying to break into the industry
Oh
because
yeah.
now she has this reputation, whether it's true or not or deserved or not, of somebody that uses her body, that uses her sexuality to get information and to essentially get clicks, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what bothers me is
It is,
that
yeah, it is
she
reinforcing
has
harmful stereotypes at the end of the day.
she has earned this reputation, but and so she should not be treated with with like the reverie that she gets treated with. No NFL insider should. And, these same writers talk shit about the Schefters and the Rappaports and all those dorks. Like, she deserves the same treatment. And, like, I think it's hugely disgusting. And it would also be different if she was just like an Adam Schefter type, where all she did was tweet all day. But she doesn't. She writes, and she considers herself a reporter, a journalist.
And
That's why she's at New York Times.
there seems to be endless footage of her going on podcasts and talking about how much her and her husband don't really get along.
She hates. She thinks her husband's a huge loser because he's not a large, bullish, bloated ex-football player with a beer gut.
Did you see the one about the most devastating one? The one that was like low-key sad and was like the most heartbreaking one was she was like doing some anecdote about it was like her birthday or coming up or something, or their anniversary or something like that, and she was like, "You should cook me a lobster dinner," and her husband said, "I'm not on your roster."
Yeah, and she's like, "Yeah,
everyone's like, he knows, dude. It's fucked up."
Absolutely, and she didn't want to marry him anyway. There's this whole segment of her on a podcast where she's like, "Yeah, up until the last second when I was on the altar, like, I didn't really want to marry this fucking loser."
And then she did like a heart-to-heart interview with Jimmy Garoppolo the night before her wedding.
Yeah,
who she has a history with.
And like wanted to fuck Jimmy Garoppolo so bad. I didn't realize that she had a history with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Not like a dating history, but it was like apparently it was like a joke that her mom says when her mother.
Oh yeah, you should date that guy.
Him.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew each other in any way besides being interviewed or whatever.
I think this destroys the perception that these people want to have, and so they have to answer to it, because we can't just sit back and accept and look, if this didn't affect my football team, I wouldn't care. If she was just like all in on the Jets or whatever, that would be funny. But since it's my team and since we're good and people hate us and our quarterback for no reason, I'm not going to back off this. And also,
yeah, the Eagles' connections are bound.
An added layer to this: her husband is a huge Eagles fan.
Yeah, did you see the clip about how when they lost and he wouldn't talk to her and she got mad at him? Did you see that?
I didn't see that. No.
She was my husband. She was like, my husband said 2 words to me, and I was like, don't do that in front of the kids. Like, I don't want this to be the type of marriage where we're like not speaking to each other, or the house is tense after a freaking football game. Like, grow up. And I was like, boy, what a fun and lively podcast segment of her like giving these like deep, dark secrets about her marriage. Like, can you just?
He does not respect her marriage.
It's like on the Dan Le Batard show or something like that. I'm like, well, yes. I'm sure his producers are thinking like, lady, just fucking give us the scoop about the Browns, and this is way too much TMI.
We just want to play the awooga sound from the guys in the storage unit or whatever, the shipping container guys. Stugatz? I have Stugatz's book, and it's surprisingly pretty good and funny.
Doesn't Stugatz mean like idiot or dumbass or something?
I have no idea what it means, but
like cabron.
He's a funny guy. I liked him in Le Batard because he doesn't watch sports but reports on them, and I think that's a very funny thing to do.
That's so cool.
I think it's hilarious.
Like the
and he's a huge alcoholic. If I can relate to that.
Yeah, dude. Cheers to that. That's like the Bulls beat writer for the Chicago Tribune, this guy Joe Cowley. He like absolutely fucking hates basketball and the NBA and sports and just like himself and his life, and he's just. I used to hate him. I used to be like, it does still a little bit piss me off that someone who like has such a cool job is like so cynical and such a fucking grumpy fucking kind all the time. But he is.
Think about all the guys he has to be around though. All the time who are like this league.
I've sort of come around. Yeah, I mean he's been covering the team since Jordan, so I think he's like highly jaded after the 30 years since then, and he's super black pilled on everything. But I've come around on him to sort of like begrudgingly respect his like unk vibes and like how just much of a stick in the mud he is. So yeah, shout out to Joe Cowley.
Yeah, I think that's great. I love him. I love that idea that you hate what you do so much.
The beat writer who absolutely fucking detests the team and has been working there for like 40 years.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's like you could just probably retire and like open a milkshake shack or something, or just do nothing. You know, like
Ooh,
he's
the
probably
Milk Shack.
the milk shack. Okay, Shake Shack brings us ties it back together. Yeah, so her husband is like a high level executive at Shake Shack, which is very funny.
Really?
Yes, not I
So he
mean
probably
not a high
makes
level executive, but he has like a big corporate job at Shake Shack.
so he makes like a lot of money, probably.
Probably.
Probably around the same amount as she does, and she hates him.
There's so many like I should have started cataloging them because there was just too many to mention about how many not only podcast hits but like tweets from the past 5 years or 5 or 6 years since they've been married. They got married in 2020, I think, and it's just like someone will like I'll see someone will quote retweet a tweet of hers with like the eyes emoji or something, and then I'll click on the tweet, and it's like one of those like reply to a reply to a reply to a reply
Yes, yes,
type of
these are
tweet where
bad.
like she's deep in it. She is like highly online, highly talking about personal stuff to just guys with like 12 followers who ask her a question, and or like it was something. One of them I saw was like she was on some podcast thing talking about something,
A
and someone
loser
replied,
husband.
she was talking about family stuff, and she said some random complete like lowbie guy on Twitter was like, "You need a boyfriend,"
And she's
and
like, I do.
she replied to him and was like, I always tell my husband this," and it was like a few months after they had gotten married. It was like for a tweet from
Yeah.
2020, from like late 2020.
Why did she get married? And why is she so worried about like
And it's
her
like,
kids and like the kind of house they have where she's always like on her phone and not paying attention to her kids. And two,
she's
they
putting out
doesn't care about her family and
she
like
put out a
airing their
report this
laundry.
morning. In the wake of this thing, she put out a thing at like 8 a.m. this morning about the possible ref strike thing, and everyone was like, hello, she's still grinding away, dude. She's still in the
I don't
content
understand how
mines."
she's not suspended. Like, why are they just sweeping this under the rug? It's unfair. Like for her not to be treated with like, I don't know, the same like the integrity that she demands. Like it goes both ways, right? So like there should be repercussions for this.
I
That like
mean,
that's it's I think it's a huge ethical problem, dude. Like
who would suspend her besides just the New York Times? As they're the only ones that have any real say in what she can or can't
I
do
think
with in regards to her work, and they're certainly not going to do anything.
I've
So it's
like
just
read
like,
like very real like reports that like the Eagles are looking into this and
oh,
like they're going to investigate this and like so which means they're going to send Big Dom around, which is
uh-oh.
cool. Nah, he's very cool. You love Big Dom because he's proud of his Italian heritage.
I love the whole Eagles coaching staff, dude. It's an all Paisan coaching staff, and they're wrongly
No,
treated in the media. They get
look,
dragged.
yeah, and they're bad at their job, but hey, it's okay. Hey, what do
They're
I need to do,
all
wise guy?
they're all bald guys with beards and goatee. They're all bald guys with goatees that wear visors, and
Yes, they're that guy, or they're like tall. Because Nick Sirianni's like 6'4". They're all like very tall guys with like
former athletes.
that are kind of skinny with beer guts. Yeah,
Yeah.
former athletes, like former white like D2 wide receivers.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Like really high level amateur guys didn't quite break in the NFL, or slightly made training camps or something, but or like
Even Sean Mannion is that. He's former backup quarterback.
He was in the league, right? Sean Mannion was a backup quarterback for a long time.
But yeah, I think the Eagles are investigating this, and they should report anything that they find that is sketchy to the NFL. And yeah, maybe like I don't know, the Patriots get fined, like or docked a draft pick, or like I don't know. That's probably a massive overreaction because I'm an angry fan.
Yeah.
At least I admit it. I admit what I am, and that's kind of the core of this thing. It's like it's so many people pretending to be like what they aren't. But also, like I don't know, maybe she gets her like credentials revoked for a season, or like half like X amount of months. Like hit him where it hurts, right in the pocket. And then if that does happen, you know what's going to happen is like she's going to turn so far right and like start going on like
the canceled
Candace Owens
circuit
podcast, yeah, and talking about the liberal media, like Sage Steele did. That was the biggest shock, is that like Sage Steele is a huge Trumper. That blew my mind. And she was like, she has said things like, yeah, ESPN's too black. And it's like, whoa. Hey, can I hold up a mirror for you, please? You're a black woman. This is wild that you're saying this. Um, but yeah, it sucks, dude. And like, it should, like, it should create a conversation where it's like, all right, this is all just bullshit and fake and not real journalism. So we're not going to treat these knuckleheads, these idiots, with the respect that they cry for all the time. That's done. Like that's the bare minimum that should happen because this is bigger. Like
So they need some of the insiders. There needs to be some like new generation of insiders that are just more transparent about it and are like, hey, the agent texted me and here's what the player wants. Or,
yes, and
like just like be honest about your sources and be honest. Don't. But I mean, I'm not really holding my breath for that because these guys love the Schefters and the Shamses and the Rappaports and the Russinis. They're addicted to the like scoop, the
yes.
feeling, like the literally like the adrenaline of being like, I'm the only person like on earth with this information right now, and I wield this power. And there's so many little power structures like convalescing in this fucking story because it's like there's likely going to be no repercussions because of
No.
who back. Like Vrabel has a lot of power as in the Patriots organization. Robert Kraft is gonna have Vrabel's back, and that's kind of all that matters.
Yep.
Like it's
And then
not.
the New York Times
There's not gonna be any like sanctions or any firings or any press taking away of credentials because it's like this is the delicate ecosystem of the insider universe that it's like the shrouded mystery powerful men in the shrine, the owners, we like sort of handpick these 5 or 6 people that have access to this information. We cut it off at the neck from anyone else. They're allowed to disseminate it and generate stuff we want out there. And they're not gonna like disrupt that flow. And they're like, if you guys want to fucking suck each other all day long, we don't really give a shit. Maybe lay low for a while after this. Like you kind of fucked up with all these pictures coming out. Like maybe show a little more discretion, but we seriously don't care if you guys want to like blow each other. Like it's not, we don't give a shit. It doesn't matter.
If there's a female head coach, or if like it came out that like Adam Schefter was fucking the Colts owner lady, I feel like it'd be a big deal and people would be upset by it.
Dude, remember okay, people are bringing this up too.
Especially if he was doing nothing but putting out very like, I don't want to say biased, but very like slanted or tilted content about like drumming up interest, like not letting a story die or a scoop die, like keeping the fucking beach ball in the air, right? Like that's what bothers me is like it's so like these dots like just like follow the fucking money, right? Like believe what your eyes show you. She spent an entire season and like very confusingly obsessed with AJ Brown scoops while other people had moved on. Now it comes out that she has like let's say like an intimate, because intimate can also be like doesn't mean sex or like an affair, but she very clearly has a very intimate and familiar relationship with Mike Vrabel, who I believe also has like personnel decision, I think he has like I think he's kind of like the GM there too. Yeah, like he has a huge say in personnel and roster building. And the fact that she wasn't letting this die, but it was always to the Patriots. She's the one that kind of broke that narrative and is keeping it alive. And I think that right there is the huge problem. That is the huge like conflict of interest to me, that she is like trying to generate something and like it's seemingly manifest this trade because not just because it benefits her professionally, but there is a seedier, stickier, wetter motivation. If you know what I'm saying.
I mean, this ties back to when we were talking about draft. Whenever we talk about draft stuff, when we talk about how the mock drafts sort of inform the decision makers' thought process, they inform each other. They go back and forth. It's the same thing with these reporters who are like tweet out or let
Well, hey,
leak out things are
everyone,
like,
yeah.
yeah, the teams are looking at this guy, or Team X is like interested in so and so. Like,
Well,
what do we think that is? Like, that's all art
she was the
imitating
one.
life type of stuff.
There were like
That goes on constantly.
even like even during like free agency and trade deadline, not trade deadline, but like free agency period, she was putting stuff out that was like, my sources are indicating that the Patriots and Eagles have been talking and there have been offers proposed. And then everyone on the Eagles side was like, no, what? We're not gonna talk about that because that's not really happening. He's an Eagle. And like they have a very high asking price. You know, they want a first round pick and a starter, which like I don't think you let him go for that. You know, you just gave him a huge extension, and you'll try to shop him, but you're not gonna like take a second round pick for him and that's it. Especially when he just got an extension. Like, dude, like Howie's not gonna let him just completely take this entire situation and have all the leverage. Like he is trying to shop him, but like a receiver like AJ Brown, who like you pay these guys for what they've done in the NFL, not what they're going to do. That's how this works. Everyone knows that. And like for what he's done, like yeah, that's a first round draft pick and a player. Like that's what he's worth, or two firsts maybe, or a first and a second. Um, so if we're not getting what is deserved, especially while he's on this really good contract, like he's like, you know, at his best is probably a top 10 receiver, although he hasn't really been there in a couple of years because of like some injuries. And like, I think
And
it seems like he
Jalen Hurts' toxic locker room presence.
apparently so,
Apparently.
yes. Um, and then like I heard, like I just listened to something yesterday where like multiple teammates of his, like, because, and I look, I brought this up, right? That all the sources were guys on the coaching staff or ex, like current or ex Sirianni coaching staff guys. Those were all the
Mhm.
sources. It was not players. Um, Yesterday, Zach Berman, who is my favorite Eagles writer, not podcast person, like personality, but my favorite Eagles writer. I own several of his books. He's amazing. Me and him DM on Instagram. He's very cool and nice.
Get him on the
Um,
show.
I would fucking love to. He won't though. He just quit a job because he had to do daily podcasts, and it's been like a big thing in the Eagles sphere. Um, but uh, fuck, what was I trying to say? Yes, he was talking about how he's talked to multiple teammates, and that's what matters, right? That's what determines the locker room stuff. Is like, do guys like him? Do they feel like they can win with him? And they do, and like that's what they were saying. Like, yeah, like he makes us better. He's a really good quarterback, but also like numerous stories of Jalen Hurts using his influence and power to like help his teammates. And like he said, he couldn't get into the details because they were off the records conversations. Which, if he's saying that, I believe it. But like, it kind of sounds like he goes
Like
above and beyond for
giving
his
them money and
friends,
stuff.
giving them money, maybe helping parents out with money, maybe hooking them up with like agents
A,
or executives
a
so they get
car
like a
or
brand
something.
deal or a car. Yes, he
Yeah.
goes like he listens to the people around them and helps them. And like you see him do that in the community. All you see are videos of him like pulling up when kids are like throwing a football around in Philadelphia, and like he gets out of the car and like signs autographs and throws the ball around, or like supporting like black female owned businesses, or having an all female management team because he wants to encourage growth in the area of women in professional sports, on like not just like women's sports, girls sports, but like women in like
Jobs in sports.
in the administrative and the executive spheres of professional sports. So like agents, managers, executives, etc. That's important to him.
Right.
He like he does all of it. He doesn't have to, and he doesn't ask for attention when he's doing this. He is all intents and purposes a very awesome fucking guy. But you had these incompetent coaches, and I wanted to talk. I wanted to touch on this a little bit this week because I went ahead and I read the article with, you know, I had lockjaw afterwards because gritting my teeth for for all of it. But like, he's an awesome dude, and the two best, statistically speaking, the two best games of his career are Super Bowls. He's been an MVP runner up. He is so fucking good. I don't understand why he's being treated this way, other than the fact that there were these incompetent guys who were not qualified to be in the positions they were in that don't know how to coach. And that was the whole thing. And I think I sent you like that podcast and I said, hey, listen to the first 15 minutes of this. They kind of break that down where it's like, yeah, these are just coaches admitting they don't know how to coach.
Yeah.
Like, that's your job. That's why you get paid. That's why assistants get paid $500,000 a year, because it's your job to get the players to do this. It's your job. Like, this is a people job too. This is coaching is 70% people, not just X's and O's. It's your job to figure out how to connect to a person and get him to do a thing that benefits the team. That is a failure when it comes to coaching.
This guy's not listening to our bad ideas.
Yeah. And it was so embarrassing. And that's why that dude, remember at the end of the year when I was saying we need to get Sirianni out of here? This is what I was talking about, because I've been listening to stuff like this for a while now. And like, I've been kind of tapped in to this attitude within the locker room. And it was happening midway through the year when coaches, people in the coaching office were like, anonymous sources to the media saying, hey, we're going to trade this guy. We're going to bench him. He sucks because he won't listen. He changes plays, which is a lie. He does not change plays. And also in that article, remember when they ran 4 verts again? And
yeah.
They in the article, the coaches say it was Jalen's idea, but then you see the video of him calling 4 verts, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah, the video kind of denies that's kind of not what it looks like on the video.
It's like, So like,
it's like the video makes it look like just to reiterate, the video made it look like what was the OC's name that we all hated? What's his name?
I don't know. I blocked out of my head. Kevin Patullo.
Patullo's like, this is the play call, and Jalen Hurts is like, it is, and he looks at Nick Sirianni, and Nick Sirianni's like,
and Sirianni's just kind of zoned out.
He's like, yeah, and Jalen Hurts is like, okay, they made it sound like Jalen Hurts had a gun to their head. It was like, you better run 4 verts again instead of your other genius idea that you had.
And also just say no. Just say no, dude. This is what we're doing. Like, be the adult, coach. Do your job. Don't like put all the onus on this quarterback because it's an easy scapegoat because he makes 250 million years and is a humble, kind black man. That's all this is. And it's just these, my apologies here, Anthony, but Italian racists doing this. It's just like a New York story all over again, but in football.
Oh, God.
Or a Bronx Tale, excuse me. A Bronx Tale, not a New York story. That's the whitest like boomer thing I've ever done.
Oh, shit. Let's drop my mic.
But anyway, it pisses me off. And like, it's all so clear. Like, if you pay attention and actually know about this team a little bit, it's very clearly lies. But there are 32 teams and there are so many moving parts that you kind of just take the surface level narrative and run with it without like diving deeper, because you really don't have the time to do that when you're covering the league. And like, it's easy just to carry on with a narrative when it's like clearly false. If you just do the groundwork, if you just do the legwork and check into things, you'll figure out in 15 minutes that that's not the case. But yet here we are. And another thing I want to say, fuck Nate Tice. Fuck Nate Tice.
Uh-oh. What'd he do?
He just keeps doing this thing on his pre-draft podcasts where he keeps saying how like, oh, the Eagles defense is depleted and like they're going to go all offense. I don't know if that's a good idea. They're returning like 8 or 9 starters. He has some depth guys left and a starting safety left, but like he's acting like we lost like 7 starters because he doesn't know what he's talking about. He just says stuff. It's like me on this podcast, but he gets paid a lot of money and his dad is famous for fucking escorts with his players on a boat. And I said that. I left that comment on his podcast. I do that.
Oh my God.
I said, hey, Nate, remember when your dad fucked sex workers in front of his players on a boat?
Who's this dad? He did. Wait, what?
His dad's Mike Tice. Remember when the Vikings had the sex boat party cruise?
Mike Tice.
Mike Tice was on the boat with them, like fucking strippers.
Heard that name in a really long time. Wow, that brought me back.
So all these guys are gross.
His dad is younger than my dad. How's that possible?
He had sex at an earlier age with
That's
without a
impossible.
condom.
No.
I don't know what to tell you, man. But yeah, I want to talk about the Fernando Mendoza thing. He commented on a very graphic picture of George Floyd being murdered by
Right.
that piece of shit. I can't remember his name. Was it
Derek
Kevin something?
Derek
Derek, yeah.
Chauvin. Yeah.
Derek Chauvin, the chauvinist. And was like, we need context for this or something. Like,
Yeah,
tried to make the
that
argument
was-
like, no, he was like, well, what did he do to deserve this?
I thought that was fake when I first saw that.
It's
Or
real.
I thought
real.
it was, and then when I was like, oh, it's real, but it's just some random guy. No, it's the number 1 overall pick in the draft saying this. And I mean, not only is it like shockingly racist, but it's also like, this didn't happen that long ago, and the guy got charged with the murder.
Yep.
Like, he's in jail. Like, there is no the context is we all have the context. We all remember.
The context,
it was actually kind of it was sort of a big deal when it happened. I don't know if you remember, but there was sort of a public outcry of sorts, you could say, possibly. I mean, it was actually sort of like the largest mass mobilization movement in the history of the country, actually. So yeah, a lot of us actually sort of
miniature civil rights movement.
A deep sort of understanding of what actually took place before and after that photo was taken. We all have like a collective living memory of it, unless you're like in first grade.
He wasn't. Yeah. He was like a senior in high school. And like, I'm sorry, but like, I understand that you're like a first or second generation Cuban that grew up in Miami, so you're going to be conservative. That's like what, people who are defending him are saying.
Right.
But this is not a conservative or liberal issue. That is just a vile and hateful attitude to have towards a photographic evidence of a man being murdered by the police state. That's like looking at like photos of like the massacre in Malay and being like, well, what did these dumb fucks do to deserve this, pieces of shit? It's like
there's a fundamental thing about conservatives is that they think that some people do deserve suffering. They think that almost everyone that is suffering somehow deserves it.
Yeah, has earned it in some way.
Which is weirdly like, I mean, he's always talking about his like Catholic faith, and
Catholics are pretty fucking shitty people, actually. Believe it or not, I grew up with a lot of them. It's just like, what an evil thing to say, though, because it's like a militarized police force brutalizing an American citizen and killing him in the street,
like in broad daylight in front of a bunch of other people. Like,
yeah,
and
that isn't just like, oh, I'm a Republican, sorry, deal with it. That is like, I'm evil. And I completely lack empathy, and I want to be saying the N-word right now, but I'm not. I'm not trying to be funny. It's true. That's how these people fucking think. They're
it's something
the last
about
6 years have showed us how truly hateful and vile and violent and monstrous some people are. And it's disgusting.
There's this really weird thing of people because he's trying to like both sides it or being like he's above it or something like that. And that seems to be a hallmark of a lot of these like right-wing like thought leader or people who aspire to be sort of like, oh, I'm Mr. Logic. I'm Mr. I don't even believe in like, there's like a movement against empathy. Like there's this weird conservative movement. There's this weird conservative movement that's like every single issue can be, we're going to stand back and like look at it like it's like a cold, hard, logical thing. And it's like, sometimes you need to pick a side, dude. Like, just come out. Like,
and I
would have more respect for him if I would have more respect for him if he had left some comment that was like, yeah, he deserved it. I fuck him, dude, because he's black. Or like, if he had just come out and straight up been hateful instead of trying to couch it in this like, I'm actually I'm Mr. Philosopher, actually, and let's examine the facts and blah blah blah. It's like you can examine the facts that the guy got fucking charged with murder. I mean, like like you said, liberal or conservative or left or right, like the guy's in jail for that for what he did in that picture. So I mean, it's just ignorant and it's like faux intellectual. It's like anti-intellectualism disguised as intellectualism is when people who are doing this whole thing of like, oh, I'm Mr. Socrates questioning everything. It's like, no, you're just fucking hateful.
This is what he said. I have it right here. This is what he said, word for word. So the meme is a picture of Derek Chauvin murdering George Floyd, and that's the left photo, and the right photo is Colin Kaepernick kneeling, and the text says this, and this is above Derek Chauvin,
Right.
and then is Y is above Colin Kaepernick, saying that Colin Kaepernick took a stand because this is the shit that happens, and he was sick of it. And then this is what Fernando Mendoza puts underneath the photo. You need to explain the context of the first photo of the cop on the man because you never know what he did wrong.
It's just
Tell you what he
so
did wrong.
stupid.
You know what he did wrong is he woke up as a black person in America and left his house that day. That's what he did wrong.
And
Fernando.
what's weird about the picture, the image
Fucking
itself,
piece of
like
shit.
without the comment, the Colin Kaepernick thing happened like 5 years before George Floyd, or
Yeah.
it happened in like 2012 or something, didn't it? 2013.
I think he started
14?
in like 2014. Here, let's go. Let's do this. Colin
'Cause he-
Kaepernick. When did he start kneeling? And he started kneeling because a fucking Green Beret told him that would be more respectful to the 2016 he started sitting.
Right.
And so like, yeah, and then started kneeling because a fucking Green Beret, like a special forces guy, met with him and was like, hey, I support what you're doing and respect this. But, you know, it would be instead of sitting, like it would be more respectful and people might receive your message better if you kneel because kneeling is an act of respect for the flag. And so he was like, okay, like good point. I'll listen to you. I'll do that. And he started doing that. And then that's when people just lost their fucking minds because everyone is a pig.
That was such
Everyone
a
is just
crazy,
a fucking pig.
That's why we deserve that. That's why all of this is to say this is why we deserve insider reporters like Diana Mussini. We don't actually deserve like real like Edward Murrow journalists or whatever like speaking truth to power. We deserve people who just like to wine and dine and suck and fuck
69.
and just yeah.
Sorry.
Wine and dine at 69.
Marry him, bury him, leave the kids at the aquarium. But yeah, fuck Fernando Mendoza. And I know that's not going to like, people in Las Vegas aren't going to care. Like, I would say 80% of the Raiders fan base believes what he's saying. And like,
he's literally getting drafted to a place called Sin City, which is pretty cool, pretty funny.
I guarantee you that like Raiders fans who aren't like black hole members, like let's just exclude those guys, like the actual passionate fans. Anyone who is like a Las Vegas resident is going to be like a person who's like, we need to respect the cops. And Charlie Kirk was very smart. Two things that are like fundamentally incorrect.
Fernando Mendoza in Las Vegas is like, have you seen the picture from The Simpsons of Smithers in a strip club and he's like hiding his eyes and like screaming in horror? That's yes. Fernando Mendoza. That's gonna be Fernando and Mendoza and Kirk Cousins in fucking Vegas.
Oh my god, yeah, they're just gonna be holding each other and praying and crying all night.
They're gonna be holding out crosses and speaking in tongues whenever they have to venture outside of their homes.
I don't know. I after watching the quarterback show, I find Kirk Cousins to be like, look, I don't like his overly Christian bullshit thing, but he seems like an actual decent guy and like a kind-hearted and nice person from like what I've seen. And it's his wife that is kind of monstrous. His wife seems like she's like the hateful, overly Christian one.
What I always get back to with Kirk Cousins in regards to his like, you know, he's obviously like a conservative Christian guy, but like you said, like he doesn't really seem like that bad. It's I remember that during the COVID season, he like didn't want to get vaccinated, was publicly was like, I'm not getting the jab. But
Yeah.
he still like wanted to play, and I remember this reported coming out that he was trying to make a deal with I think he was with the Vikings at the time to be like, oh, I'll go in a quarantined hotel room and I'll wear a mask around. Like he was willing to like compromise with them. Like I always thought that was like a weirdly sort of like noble or like respectable that he was the type of person that didn't want to get a vaccine but still like believed that the like disease was real and was like respected people's like efforts at trying to minimize it. Like he was trying. I just always thought that was like
it's
just
very
kind of
human
funny.
and empathetic. That's human and empathetic, and that like I can maybe kind of understand why somebody wouldn't want to get a vaccine that was just invented and then the government is telling you you have to get it. Like I can see why that would freak certain dumb people out. But the people who are just like, this isn't real, it's just the flu. And then like there was like a 9/11 like loss of like there was like 9/11 casualties every day. That was the death toll for a while. And people were like, this is fake. And then I even had a friend who was like, do you even know anybody that died from it? And I had to be like, yes, I do. I know multiple people that have died from it, you idiot. And they were older and like vulnerable people, and that's who we're trying to protect. Like, what is wrong with you? And we don't talk anymore. But that was very. He's also the same guy who like doesn't think private prisons are bad. But fuck that. That's Oklahoma brain for you.
Nice.
But that was just like, yeah. Do you even know anybody that? Does it fucking matter if I know? Yes, I do. But also, like, does it matter if I don't know? I'm not allowed to fucking have empathy for human beings and not want people to die because I have some fucking germs I'm breathing into their face that could kill their grandma. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Because you want to go stuff your fat fucking face eating like a deep fried bacon burger somewhere without wearing a mask? Like, what is wrong with you?
Do you remember when Tim Robinson filmed that fake thing that was like,
the house, like, my Halloween stuff.
Yeah, I can't go get my Halloween stuff. Really?
So what? Really? This is when I buy my Halloween stuff. Yes, like, God, what is wrong with you?
Or do you remember? Do you remember this was a real thing that happened, not like a comedy sketch? I can't remember what city it was, but the like aerial like helicopter footage of people who were just like doing push-ups and working out in front of
outside
the gym, even though it was closed.
They're doing like burpees. Yeah, they're doing like burpees.
Talk about fucking future Adam Curtis B-roll right there. That was like hauntingly beautiful.
What's Adam Curtis mean? What does that mean?
Oh, he's like a documentary maker about like
he
made like Piper late capitalism to degradation of society and shit.
Okay, that makes more sense in that context.
Yeah.
Should I check some of his work out?
Yeah, check out hypernormalization if you want to feel really fucked up and bad about everything for like a couple days.
I do. Hypernormalization.
Yeah. And cool. He's done other stuff, but that's sort of his big one that you always steer people towards.
There was like a leftist writer that died recently, and he wrote that book called Bullshit Jobs. And like I read that like in 2014. I found it at a bookstore and I read like the back jacket, and I didn't realize it was like lefty propaganda stuff. I just agreed with everything he was saying. And when he died,
David Graeber?
Yes.
Yeah.
When he passed away, and I realized that's who that author was, because I ended up reading another one of his books too, because I was like, this guy makes really good. This guy makes a lot of sense, and I like him. It made me feel very smart and good when I learned who he was.
Yeah, he's awesome. I read his book he wrote with another guy called The Dawn of Everything. It was like recently, just like a few years. It's just like 2 summers ago I read that. Yeah, good. He's awesome.
You know what's hilarious?
He's like an anarchist, I think, or something. You should check out. You should read Mutual Aid by Peter Kropotnik or something, Kropotnev or something like that. It's old. Okay, it's like Russian. It's
Mutual Aid.
It's really short. It's basically like a pamphlet, pretty much. It's like the Communist Manifesto. Like it's 100 pages, and it's like really easy to read. but it's
Cool.
like
Yeah. Here we go.
it's technically like about it's like people always talk about it like, but it's not written like it's not like Lenin or Marx or something where it's like really like talking about like it's he was like a naturalist. He was like a geography like naturalist guy in like the late 19th, early 20th century. So it's a lot of talk about like nature and like he talks about birds and like herding techniques or whatever and like anthropology type of stuff. It's really interesting.
I like that. That's cool. Can I
You
tell you
like you
something funny?
yeah.
Um, Speaking of like left leaning literature, to date in his NFL career through 14 seasons over three teams, Kirk Cousins has made
Oh
three
yeah.
hundred twenty-one million $692,254
Hmm.
to be just like perfectly mid.
And how much of it is
And I
guaranteed?
so that's all the money that he's already been paid. Um, I think his new contract. Let me look at this contract
Because I saw a
that he
thing that
just
was
signed.
like, I thought you were going to
Only
finish
twenty
that with how
million
much of it.
dollars.
Because I
He
thought I
signed.
remember seeing a thing that was like 90% of his shit was guaranteed or something like that. Like,
So it's like
he's
he signed a 5-year contract for $172 million. Um, the Las Vegas Raiders only included $11.3 million, but and the of that $11 million, I think the Vikings are paying like 9 million of it, or the Falcons, excuse me, are paying 9 million of it, and then everything else is just like you cut them before a certain date, before it's guaranteed, um, then you don't owe him anything. So it's like basically a 2-year contract that like, let's say like Kirk Cousins plays and he plays pretty okay. And like they win 8 or 9 games and he looks like he can play for a couple seasons. And Fernando Mendoza isn't the guy they want him to be, which is very possible. There's actually he has gone from um this perfect profile prospect to like he's been heavily criticized this past month. And like people are really breaking down his game. And like he hasn't started that many games that against like good competition, and was actually at Cal was kind of like, ugh, like we see why this guy didn't get a lot of big offers. And he was like a perfect system guy at Indiana, but like we'll see how he does in the NFL. He's just like the best of this. He's the he is he's a big old turd, but there's like some good like nuggets of corn in there, and you're like, well, we can that's good corn.
okay. You talking
Um,
about Fernando Mendoza?
yes,
I don't
he's
think he's
like
out.
so the stuff I've been listening to, people are like, he's highly flawed and probably not very pro ready. Like, and people are talking about his arm, and people are talking about like the under center stuff and like the pro reads and shit like that. Like, he's kind of getting picked apart right now. And this has like been in development the last like 3 to 4 weeks.
I mean, I'm not gonna say. I mean, after all the shit we just said about how much of a dingus this guy is,
A dingleberry.
I'm not gonna like sit here like defend him and like pound the table for him. But
Defend him.
I
Do it.
I I do think that discussion is a little bit of, he's basically been the consensus #1 overall pick for fucking like 11 months at this point, and
And people are tired of it.
this happens. This always happens, like right up into the draft, like literally like the month leading up to the draft. People start picking apart the number, whoever everyone thinks is going to be the #1 overall pick, and there starts to be all these things about like, is he good actually? And sometimes they're right. Like sometimes there's plenty of examples of guys who went #1 overall or the first drafted quarterback and ended up not being that great. Like I don't disagree that he has some flaws and is maybe not the most pro ready guy ever. I've heard multiple people say things about like, if this was 2 or 3 years ago, he probably would be a second rounder.
Yeah.
If it was a better quarterback class, we wouldn't be talking about him like this. But as far as the under center stuff, I've heard some things that make me sort of believe like you can teach that. Maybe he's not going to be starting week 1 anyway. We know that because they've got Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, because they got Charlie Kirk Cousins.
Plenty. They got brother Charlie Kirk.
I'll see you.
Allah bless
I'll suck you in Valhalla, brother.
There's plenty of guys who've been drafted and played little to no under center in college and ended up figuring it out. Like Jared Goff is a guy that didn't play very much under center in college, and he turned out fine. Like it's Jared Goofhole. I think he's going to be mostly pretty fine. It just the Raiders are not necessarily known for like team building. Raiders aren't necessarily known for putting together a really strong roster, so that could be if anything's going to be his downfall, it's going to be that. It's going to be the old
the Raiders fail him.
Excuse.
Yes, I think his ceiling is like he's Derek Carr. I don't think he's going to be the next Mahomes or anything. Like,
right?
He looked really good.
Like Derek Carr's an all-pro level player if he has the potential to be. So
he just kind of they never really got a team around him, and then when he was playing at his peak, when he hit his peak with the Raiders, he fucked his leg up, and then the John Gruden shit show came, and it was bad. But do you remember that when Derek Carr bought and John Gruden got houses right next to each other in Henderson, so they could hang out? That's how much of a brown nosing kiss ass teacher's pet Derek Carr is, which is the least surprising revelation.
He had that reputation with the Saints too. He was the coach that they fired while he was there. He was the only person defending him. Dennis Allen, all the players hated him, and then Derek Carr was being
he's a pretty good DC in Chicago.
Yeah, he's done a great job in Chicago.
He also was going to get $40 million and was I don't want to take $40 million from them. And so they were damn, okay, well you can have the $20 million signing bonus, dog. Thanks.
Kirk
and
Cousins
Derek Carr. Yeah, Kirk Cousins loves getting overpaid. He's so good at it too.
I'm gonna start calling him bag. We're gonna start calling him Bag God. He's the Bag God.
He is the Bag God. He has 2 kids, so we can start calling him the Bag Dad.
Bag Dad.
Yeah. But after Fernando Mendoza at 1,
right? Ty Simpson. You're trying to make a case for Ty Simpson, right?
Yeah, well, I think he's interesting, and I think if he goes to I think if he gets the Zach Wilson treatment, where it's all right, there's no quarterback, so this freaky little Mormon is the number 2 pick now, and it's oh, what a fucking loser bust. It's no, he was failed from the start because he had no business being the 2 or 3, whatever he was, pick. He sucked, and it was Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 that year, the clear number 1, because he was the Todd Marinovich that didn't start smoking crack. He was designed in a test tube from the age of 12 to be a professional quarterback, and that's been his whole life. And he has the frame and the mechanics and everything. But Zach Wilson never should have been the 2nd overall draft pick, man. The system failed him. He didn't bust. He didn't.
And he got drafted by the Jets.
He was failed at every fucking step of the way. But it's after Mendoza's off the board, we're looking at guys like Avril-Reese, Reuben Bain Jr., Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles. The edge class is kind of the main. This is an edge draft,
and corner.
I think edge and secondary, corner safeties. There's a lot of really good safeties, and it's actually a very defensive heavy draft because there's also some really good off ball linebackers too. And I want to highlight some of these players that are getting some buzz, and then I'll tell you about some players I think should be getting a little more buzz. And then as I'm wrapping up here, I'm going to give you who I think is the best non-Fernando Mendoza player in this draft, and it might surprise you. But right now, there is a lot of debate over Avril-Reese. He was a very good edge for Ohio State. He is the consensus number 2 overall pick. He's kind of this year's best player in the draft who's not a quarterback. Whenever there's a quarterback who's kind of good, he's always going to go number 1. Unfortunately, now in this league, 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. 15 years ago, that wasn't the case, That's how you get Mario Williams, Jadeveon Clowney, guys like that going number one overall. But Vrabel-Russini, a lot of buzz, especially the combine that he had. But then, like, video from his pro day came out, and they're talking about, like, oh, some of these workouts, like, they didn't look very good, so maybe he's not as good. And maybe Ruben Bain is the guy, or maybe Sonny Styles is the guy you want to take, or maybe even a guy like David Bailey. David Bailey is a huge riser right now. He's an edge, a D end from Texas Tech. Um, Very good player. Um, I think Vrabel-Russini is the number two. Um, Probably going to be the Jets pick. He spent like half the year being a dedicated pass rusher, but also was asked to do a lot of like drop back into coverage, drop into the flat. He was asked to do some linebacker shit. Um, so a lot of people are starting to say the consensus is starting to be, hey, slow down now. David Bailey uh, might be the edge that you want to go ahead and take. And I would like to read. I have some notes on David Bailey here. I would like to read to you. Um, okay, yeah, he is an edge rusher from Texas Tech, explosive, twitchy. His calling card is like he's very bendy. He's more of a bendy prospect, right? So he gets around the edge and like he's like Miles Garrett always gets a lot of compliments about how he can bend his body and how he's like 90 degrees to the ground when he's coming around the edge. Which for his type of, he's more of like, he is like a violent edge rusher, but a lot of it is fast twitch, first step, and like, get around the edge, like create the edge yourself, as opposed to like a tackle who sets the edge. And he does that by bending. So like whenever the the tackle gets a drop and like sets up, his specialty is being very fast, but also bending around the guy. Like he's going to go around and he can contort his body in a really sick and crazy way. Very high ceiling guy, meaning that he does need to develop. Like he has a good repertoire of moves, but he probably needs to work on his hands a little bit. His first step and his feet are there, but he needs to he needs to be able to win with more than just bend and speed.
This is
So
sorry. This is David, right?
David Bailey of Texas Tech. Yes.
David Bailey. Yeah, I was watching
Yeah.
his tape. He doesn't wear gloves. The dads are gonna love that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think he like just like the tape around his wrists. Like very like old school badass type of player.
He looked a little, and of course this is silly to say about a guy who's like 6'1", whatever, 6'3". He looked a little small to be like a real like NFL pass rusher. Like you talk about Myles Garrett, he doesn't look really like Myles Garrett. He looks like a little.
He's a little undersized, and
Yeah.
he's raw. Like he doesn't have the moves. He doesn't have a repertoire of moves. But that's also kind of like when a quarterback is traitsy and he has to develop things like his footwork or accuracy or throwing on timing. That's stuff that you can develop. And there are teams that like to take players like him because they can mold him into the player that they need. So if he goes to a place like, oh man, the Broncos are really good. Anywhere with like a that has like a really good defensive tackle coach, like a D end coach or a linebackers coach, that they're known for developing prospects in an elite way. Like Miami is kind of good at it.
Houston, maybe.
Houston is good at it.
Denver's not getting. None of these guys we're talking about are going to have anything to do with the Broncos. They don't have
No.
their first 2 round picks.
No. Of course not. The Raiders are good at it. The Bucks are good at it. But David Bailey's probably like a top 12 pick, so he's not going to fall to any of those teams. But I like him a lot. He's raw. He's fun, explosive. I'll talk about Vrabel-Russini really quick. He's like the consensus best edge. He's probably the most versatile defender in this class. Hybrid linebacker edge, but he did say at the combine, I'm an edge, I'm an edge. He was on the podium saying, I'm an edge. He allegedly, not allegedly, but like it was reported that when he was meeting with teams, he made it very clear, I'm an edge, not a linebacker, because like you've had like the Cardinals. Like, okay, we were talking about teams that are good at developing raw talent or hybrid guys. The Cardinals are like one of the teams that are very bad at that.
Yeah.
They've done this. They did it with Isaiah Simmons, and then his career just kind of like crapped out. He was never. They played him at safety. They played him at linebacker. Um, they did the same thing with the guy. Fuck, I can't remember his name right now. The Tulsa linebacker. That was very. They just basically used him as an off-ball linebacker, and he could have developed into a really good edge. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Tulsa.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Cardinals. Zane or
Zane Beatles.
not Zane Beatles. Tulsa. This is really bad podcasting.
Sorry.
But I didn't think I'd be talking about this guy. My bad. Zaven Collins. He was an All-American from. He went to the University of Tulsa or Tulsa University. And he was like a first-round pick. He had like an insane like. He's a unanimous All-American from Conference USA. Like the last year of Conference USA was the thing. They're very bad at developing guys. But Arvell Reese wants to be an edge. He wants to be seen as an edge because he was so good when he was either, stand up linebacker playing off the ball and then blitzing, or just lined up like hand in the dirt, playing in like the 6 or the 7 gap. He's like kind of like a modern NFL chess piece. He forces teams to like game plan around him. He's going to be like a guy that can completely disrupt the game, take over a game. Think Myles Garrett, think Zach Benito, think the Watt brothers, players like that, Max Crosby. He can be like an A1 alpha edge rusher that is making like 45, 50 mil if he like develops the way he needs to. Because his consistency is a problem. Down by down, you could be getting, not that he takes plays off. It's just because of his usage. He got criticized by a lot of people saying that he takes plays off, but that wasn't really the case when I was looking at him. Same thing with Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles is an off-ball linebacker from Ohio State. He's going to be like your standard, like your Sam Backer. He's going to drop. He can play a little Mike too. He's very interchangeable. He can play either side or he can be the Mike. But he's not going to be an edge. He's not going to be a pass rusher. He is like a drop into coverage, play within kind of like the zone, keep him in the box type of dude. But he got the same criticism because like there was some issue with consistency, but that was also because of usage. Because what's his name? That pervert that that coached with the Patriots and then the Lions. Matt Patricia. Patricia was there.
Pencil ears.
Yeah, pencil ears. Patricia was their DC, and like he switches things up a lot, and like kind of like game plans around their opponents, which was interesting, and it really works in college football because it's easier to like fool people. But at the same time, like I do kind of believe that players like Sonny Styles, even like Caleb Downs, like they didn't necessarily take plays off. Arvell Reese didn't take plays off. But, second half of the year, and you're going to be like a top 10 draft pick, you kind of start to protect yourself a little bit, right? You're not going all out because you're not trying to lose $10 million in one play.
The thing that's smart about Matt Patricia being involved with this is that, I mean, the defense was good, obviously. It's Ohio State's defense. There's so many of these Ohio State guys in the first round of this draft. But Matt Patricia being there is giving them like an air of respectability when it comes to like pro football readiness.
Oh, without a doubt.
Like having Matt Patricia there is like big for GMs and scouting guys to notice and be like, all right, this guy can like cerebrally comprehend the pro game most likely pretty quickly, coming from
without a doubt
from that background.
I do think that like second half of the year when it looks like you're marching into the college football playoff, right? Like you just won a national championship, like you really don't have anything else to prove. You're going to be a consensus All American. Yeah, like in the second half of games in November when you're playing nobody Big Ten teams like Michigan State, you're gonna you're gonna protect yourself on
Take
certain
your foot
plays.
off
You're
the
not gonna
gas a
go
little
all
bit.
out every down. Like you're gonna put your hand in the dirt on on like third and seven or obvious passing downs. Yeah, you're gonna sell out, but you're not selling out every single play when that can mean, the difference in 12, 13 million dollars. I know you're getting the NIL money right now, but it's huge the drop off you can have because of an injury in college. Um, I would like to talk really quickly about a couple more linebackers, if I may, um, and some guys in the secondary. Um, Caleb Downs is probably the best safety prospect we've seen in 10 to 15 years. He's like your Ed Reed defensive quarterback type. Um,
He's sick.
he can read the whole field. He can call out protections. Like he's going to get people in like the um, lined up correctly in front of him. Like he's like a Mike backer or a quarterback on the defense, like in the secondary. He's absolutely fucking awesome. Um, he's like he's a safety that's worth taking top 10 without a doubt. Um, some other guys I just want to mention really quick.
Oh,
Keldrick
good.
Falk is a power edge interior defensive lineman from
Caleb Downs.
Auburn.
I want to say real quick about Caleb Downs. He was reminding me a little bit of Patrick Surtain, the way he was like
Ooh,
involved in like seemingly every play consistently, and like a really good tackler. Like I love how he tackles. I love when a cornerback or safety tackles with their shoulder all the time, like leads with their shoulder and just like bangs guys down. Like they themselves don't even go down to the ground. They just like smack a guy and they're down and that's it. I love that's my favorite.
yeah, because they're so strong and they're so fast that they're just dropping dudes. Um,
And he's like the classic, like not the fastest, not the biggest, not the best arms, wingspan, not the best this and that, but he's just a football player. Like he's a classic that type of
mhm.
guy.
I had that in my notes. Like he's not the greatest athlete out there, but his instincts, range, and play recognition, like he's in the right place at the right time because he puts himself in the right place at the right time. Um, I really like him. He reminds me of a lot of like your primo safeties in the NFL right now, like a Derwin James type. He's like Derwin James with a higher ceiling, and like
Uh,
Derwin James might be the best safety in the league.
he's really
Um,
good.
yeah, he's fucking amazing. Um, Sonny Styles, we talked about him. He's an off-ball dude. Can blitz, drop in coverage, or spy. Um, he's a matchup nightmare because you can put him. You can put him on a running back, a tight end, or a receiver. He's just an athletic freak. He has like really fluid hips. Guys talk about that a lot. Um, like we're like he doesn't flip his hips. They just move like when he changes direction. Like you hear that a lot with like a lot and like with cornerbacks and safeties a lot, like being able to flip your hips.
Yeah,
For
hips.
linebackers that excel in coverage, it's a thing there too. He has like probably the most fluid hips in the entire draft, like better than some corners and safeties. Um, Keldrick Falk, I really like. He is like a power edge, can line up on the inside, the outside. Um, he's a workhorse defensive end. He's like it kind of like reminds me of Trey Hendrickson, where like he can get the big numbers, but he's never going to be the flashy player. He's not going to win with like pizzazz, but he's just consistent and fucking works his ass off. TJ Parker from Clemson has probably the quickest first step, very bendy. He's a big backfield disruptor. He's very good. He's an edge that's very good in the run game, like breaking down into the flat and shutting down like the screen game, or like whenever a quarterback is, everyone's covered downfield, so he's going to hit his safety valve. Like he was known for like batting passes down at the line of scrimmage a lot because he puts himself in the right position. I want to talk about two more guys really quick here, and then we can move on from this part. R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma. Um, I know I'm like an Oklahoma homer, but R. Mason Thomas is an absolute stud. He's going to be like one of the bigger steals in the draft, especially because like there's so many good edges, so many big. There are some really big names from bigger programs. Um, R. Mason Thomas is very technically sound. Um, he's kind of like a situational disruptor type. Like he comes in on obvious passing downs. That's not to say he's not a good run defender because he is. He just has to work on his consistency. But he is insanely good at disrupting at the line of scrimmage, shutting things down. Very fast, very twitchy. Has one of the best first steps um, in the draft, and the coolest name, R. Mason Thomas. The R stands for nothing. It's just R. And
Whoa, like a
R. Mason
secret agent.
Thomas, yeah, dude,
I
that's
thought
like
you
a
were
guy
saying
who
at first. I thought you were saying "our" like OUR because he's from Oklahoma. You were like our Mason Thomas, like our
or I
guy.
was a
That's our
pirate.
guy.
It's National Talk Like a Pirate Day. R. Mason
Yar,
Thomas. Peter
arr.
Sarsgaard.
They're
Um,
driving me nuts.
that's so funny. I love that. What's up with the steering wheel? It's driving me nuts. Um, he's bendy and quick. Um, he needs to go to a place where he can develop, be part of a good rotation, like maybe the Philadelphia Eagles. Like he would be.
Hmm.
I think do we need an edge? He's going to be there at 23. He's probably more of a second round guy. He's like one of those dudes who's like late, like early to mid second round, but like early second round. Like maybe someone falls in love with him, takes him at the end of the first because you get to a certain point in like the 20s, and like those are essentially second round draft picks when we're talking about the talent available, especially if there's a run on a position. But I really like R. Mason Thomas, and if he goes somewhere where he is part of a rotation or can develop, he's going to be a Pro Bowler. He has a very, very high ceiling, and if he develops his consistency, he's going to be like one of the better edge rushers in the league very quickly. Lee Hunter, okay, I'll be done here in a second. Lee Hunter is awesome.
Good time.
Another Texas Tech guy, interior disruptor. Tacario Davis, he's an Arizona guy. Um, he is a like safety corner. He plays corner, but he's played nickel safety a lot down in Tucson. I'm looking for somebody. Here we go. Cassius Howell from Texas A&M. He's a speed rusher. Probably going to be like a situational guy, rotational dude in the NFL at first. Has really obvious traits. Very fast, very bendy. Great first step. Needs to develop more moves. Um, he's like a very high risk, high upside type of player just because he's a freak fucking athlete. And Cassius Howell is like, again, a very sick name for a pass rusher. But I think my favorite edge, my favorite defensive player in the entire draft is, one of like the bigger names, the more obvious, but he kind of gets lost in the shuffle of like when you talk about like the 2 or 3 or 4 best players. It's Ruben Bain from Miami. He gets a lot of criticism because he has short arms. He's a little undersized. He's like he's kind of built like Bradley Chubb, or he's a shorter dude but um, plays outsized. Like he plays bigger than he is, if that makes sense. Very strong. He can move people off of the line. He's like a smaller dude, but is a classic power rusher. Um, Very polished. He wins with technique and power. So like that's such a deadly combo to have. Like he has like 2 or 3 really good pass rush moves. Like he can stab, he can move with the hands, like the hand slaps, or he can bend a little bit to like set the edge himself. But he's 9 times out of 10 he's going to win from the inside as a power rusher. He's a day one contributor. Like you can draft him. Like he's definitely like I think would be a great addition in Arizona, for example, because they need some more edge help to like put across from Josh Sweat, who is like, really having a field day down in Arizona, was a double digit sack guy, kind of got snubbed from the Pro Bowl this year because of a late season injury. But they've kind of like have a history of like, all right, defensive first round, defensive line, guy gets hurt and doesn't really pop. Happened with Derek Brown not Auburn Derek Brown, but a different guy. Happened again this last year with the dude they drafted from A&M, who I really liked. I can't remember his name right now, but it's not important. I thought he was going to be really good. I wanted the Birds to draft him, but the Cardinals took him pretty high.
The other
Um,
birds. The other
but Ruben
birds.
Bain is like a classic NFL. Like 10 years ago, he's a perfectly sized edge. He is.
Yeah,
I
he
have a
looks
pretty
the
good. Let
most
me open my other notes. I have a good comp for him.
of the edge guys I watched today. He looked the most pro ready, frankly, to me. Like the other guys
Absolutely.
maybe had different traits here and there, but they all looked a little like small or like not like they were playing against like Arkansas Pine Bluff or whatever the hell. But
Mm-hmm.
like this guy, I mean, maybe it's the like weird fucked up medical thing on his arm, whatever those things are that make him look like they have like a cyborg arm. Maybe it's that
Oh
makes him
yeah,
look like a pro
the
guy already.
fucking
But his
elbow
tape,
brace.
yeah, his tape was like, oh shit, like damn, like that to me. So yeah, I'm with you on he's highly
JJ
underrated and
Watt made those popular, and it was because he wore in like they like kind of like modified a knee brace and put it on his elbow because his arm is so fucking big. And then they started making those like because of him, like the big cage elbow braces that you can put
yeah.
on your guy in Madden now. I think they look sick as fuck, especially when a guy wears like a sleeve underneath it. And shit, that's what I would do. I would do like secondary color team, secondary team color shooter sleeve, then the cage on top. I was always about accessorizing when I played, but Ruben Bain Jr. is my favorite player in this draft on the defensive side of the ball. He is the safest guy you can get. He's an edge rusher who does not wear gloves. He wears
Yeah.
number 4, and he has a receding hairline. What else could you ask for in a dominant edge
He's
rusher? That is
he's
your 2026 defensive draft forced takeaways of the year.
tailor made for dads nationwide to get on board with him. No gloves,
Oh,
shitting hairline,
absolutely.
big.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, defensive draft guys. It's a lot of
It's
them.
exciting. A lot of
Broncos aren't
linebackers,
going to
but
get
like
any.
defensive linemen. Like it's a big D lineman draft. I love that.
We'll maybe take a look at offense next week, right as the draft approaches. Before we go, though, do you have any? Do you want to do any NBA talk, or how are the Phillies doing, or what do we think about stuff like that, or
Phillies are
Puka
off to a
Nacua, I
rougher
guess.
start. I don't really care though. I'm gonna start like I'll start paying attention like after school is done. Um, when I'm just sitting around it when like see it's not as it's so hard to get into baseball now because you have to have like 2 different apps. Like you can't really watch baseball on TV unless it's like on Fox Sports, like FS1 or fucking like the MLB network, like game of the week on Wednesday. Um, there used to be so much baseball on TV and like a sport that you're worried about dying, hiding up behind multiple paywalls so like the teams can
Yeah.
profit seems like a really stupid way to get younger generations of fans. But hey, I'm not the one making those
I
decisions.
mean, yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's what you have. That's what happens when you have a bunch of 85-year-olds making the decision. Is
Yeah, guys that are
yeah,
just wanting to make money for their family lineage. Like it's just owners. Owners
the
are
Cubs.
raking in these massive contracts. They're double dipping too with like network contracts, and then they're also like creating and like their own like in-house streaming networks. Like you have the fucking like um marquee sports network with the Cubs, and now that's becoming such like it's becoming a thing for um every ball club. It's not just the big ones that can do that.
Yeah,
They're
it's
all
only
doing it. So
the
like,
majority of them are doing stuff like
yeah,
that. And it's like the Cubs are a really egregious example of an ownership group that has a lot like has so much in revenue and spends so little comparatively. Like they do spend technically like slightly above average, slightly above MLB average, but in terms of like income generated, they're like the third or fourth most popular team in the league every year to year.
Yeah.
And they barely get things like free agents. You got to pay to watch them on fucking their own little network.
On
Same with the
MLB
White Sox.
TV or ESPN, yeah, you had to
But,
like buy an MLB TV streaming package through
and,
ESPN.
to make matters worse, they're not that good. They like narrowly missed the playoffs. They're like not really in contention in the division really for the most part of last year. And then don't even get me started on the White Sox. I mean, they're like historically bad. Like, I mean, they did sweep the Blue Jays this past week, the reigning AL champs. So that was a bit of a surprise. They have a fun Japanese prospect who's hitting dingers left and right. But
The Cubs are probably the most disappointing franchise in sports.
wow, harsh words.
Matt Ishiba, like the guy that owns the Suns now.
Yeah.
He put an antenna on top of the footprint center or whatever the fuck they're calling it now. And so like you could like with rabbit ears get all the Suns games, and the NBA made them take it down.
Damn.
So,
I think that technically that's the deal the White Sox have too, is that you got to have the over the air thing to do it, but we don't have. It's kind of a pain in the ass.
But I think that's just like only reason I bring that up is because that's like even if the owners aren't shitty and like fully shitty and greedy, right? This guy's still a fucking billionaire. He's not one of us. He wouldn't piss on me if I was on fire. But he was still trying to be like, yeah, if you work a hard job and you just want to watch the Suns, you should be entitled to watch the Suns if you can't afford to pay for the streaming service. But the NBA, everyone's favorite Google, Adam Silver, Mr. Let's bet on sports. It's good for sports. Oh no, what's happening to my sport with all this legalized gambling ruining it now? Probably one of the dumbest fucking like most disingenuous pieces of shit in all of professional sports. Like he acts like such a good guy. He works so hard at his own PR to be such a fucking good guy, bleeding heart liberal type of dude. Like he's like your perfect example. And it's like easier to see because he's not shrouded in political discourse of like the modern day like liberal, like the DNC, like your modern day lib, who is all about PR and identity politics. But then when it comes down to like day to day operations, is fucking nickel and diamond, winning in the margins, puts profits before people at every turn. Just an absolute piece of shit, Nosferatu looking ass ghoul.
Yeah, he's really kind of taken it on the chin this recently with their like completely convoluted tanking solutions that they're trying to like pitch. And it's like they're so clearly just using like Shams as again, as we've said multiple times on the show, they're using Shams just as like a mouthpiece. The ownership and front offices are just like Shams is just kind of their meat puppet, and they shit out these like their Shams of this little like quote unquote report, if you want to call it a report, when his
Shams is that really handsome.
Tell him to fucking type something.
He's that handsome like Middle Eastern guy.
Yeah, he took over the seat from Woj.
For Woj. What happened to Woj? Did he get caught with like a dead hooker or something?
No, nothing happened to him. He just gave up the game. He was getting, he's like in his like 60s or whatever. He's the GM of St. Bonaventure, whatever the fuck that means. But
that's where Terrence Hartnett went to college.
That's like his oh really? That's his alma mater. Woj went there, and now he's their GM.
Well,
they're the Atlantic 10, same conference as Loyola, so I could maybe see him if he ever comes to town. But anyway, so the NBA comes up with these. I mean, I couldn't even get through reading them. It's so annoying and like not a real solution. And now I'm starting to wonder if tanking is as we understand it is even that much of a problem in the NBA. It's really just like a few egregious examples. I don't know. The whole thing it's becoming very esoteric and meta, and it's really weird. And I don't know if they would ever do this or if this was the best solution, but I was thinking the other day, what if they made it like almost like soccer, to where being the top team in the regular season is kind of like half of a championship, sort of like you do get like a trophy, you get like something for being like the top regular season team, and then the playoffs is like a whole separate thing, and you still do the finals and the trophy, the Larry O'Brien trophy, and do all that the same, but like make regular season
make it matter.
champion, like
Yeah, and
like
get
an
rid of this
extra
weird
thing,
governor's
maybe.
cup thing. Well, you have to fucking. It has to be like there has to be financial compensation. You have to give these guys big bonuses for being part of like the best teams during the regular season. Like, and it can't just be like 100 grand. That's nothing to an NBA player. Give them like $1 million, $2 million each, right? Everyone on the team, give them some of like those record breaking profits that you're making on TV. Um, that's how you do it. You have to offer money. You have to incentivize these guys with money, or it's not going to work.
For sure. My little we have a little foster kitten, and she's really being a little rascal right now. She's about to knock over this mirror. Hey, get up, psst, little baby, get down, little baby, little baby. She's like knows that it's pissing me off. It's such a little shit. All right, she's on. Sorry. Um, yeah, I don't know if there's a real thing you can do with that. Jokic
One
probably
last
not going to
thing.
win MVP either.
Um,
Oh god.
let's talk about. I think that he can. I don't think it's going to be Shea because everyone hates him for some reason. I mean, he's just playing the game the way you're incentivized to play it now. And then all these like old guys want to talk about like, oh, you're all soft. You're so soft.
I do think a lot of I do think he'll win. I do think a lot of the MVP voters want to give it to Shea. I don't think they hate him as much as fans hate him, or as much as I hate him.
See, I don't hate him. I don't love him. I don't really care. I like Jalen Brunson. I think he should get it, even though he kind of has the same problem Shea does, or Shea. Doesn't matter. I do think, though, I wanted to say this before. This is my last thing, and it's about the NBA stuff we were just talking about. I do think the NBA is purposely making a bigger deal about this tanking stuff. And it's not just to like control the PR narrative, but I think they're trying to distract from what's happening in federal court in New York right now. They're involved in some like pretty serious gambling probes and like some like recognizable players. Like I know Terry Rozier is not LeBron James or Jason Tatum, but he's a recognizable name. He's a guy whose jersey
Chauncey
sold.
Billups, that's a pretty recognizable
Chauncey
name.
Billups was a key part of those Detroit championship teams and is like a very recognizable like ex player who's a coach now. You have things like the mafia, like organized crime is involved and like has
Heard
been
of
like
him?
organized like mafia guys have been subpoenaed because of these poker games where they're giving out information and stuff and like it's a big fucking deal. And Adam Silver was like the first sports commissioner that was beating the fucking drum to legalize gambling and
Yeah.
went around saying like spouting just made up fake numbers about how much money they'd be making. He rallied all the other commissioners. He ended up doing there was a lobbying group and Adam Silver did a lot of their work for them by writing this op-ed in like the Players Tribune or whatever. And I think that all this tanking stuff is very tactful by them because they're trying to distract from this huge fucking mess that their gambling bullshit has created in their own sport.
I think the one of the biggest sort of catalysts for the gambling explosion, I think, is how desperate the leagues were to regain profits and income after COVID. How COVID was so fucked up for sports, and how they were like really trying to like come out of that hole fast. They wanted to like accelerate their rebirth sort of after COVID, and gambling was seen as like a really fast way to make a bunch of money, and it sort of worked. I mean, kind of, but they didn't really allow any guardrails to be put up, or didn't really think too much about like second or third hand downstream effects of stuff like that. And now it's all coming to fruition, and eventually something worse than this is going to happen. And I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it. Then this is Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups stuff. Something worse than that is going to happen, and it's going to be either an even higher profile gambling scandal, or someone's gonna get fucking killed.
Yep.
Whether it's
And
whether it's
not
a
gonna be
crazy
Michael
fan,
Jordan's dad again.
whether it's a crazy fan trying to kill an athlete for messing up their parlay or whatever, or if it's like some gambling addicted person killing themselves or something like that. I mean, that already happens all the time. It doesn't really get reported. But some type of big high profile thing is going to happen that's going to have to make them take an immediate look at gambling and sports. But the other thing is a rambling, gambling, hip shooting cowboy is president right now, and I don't really think the Trump administration is like super interested in cracking down on all this illegal fucking poly market shit they're doing too. So it's kind of like they have a free reign blank check to do all this shit with no consequences. So yeah, it can only get worse. With regards to that, it can only get worse.
Yep.
Only going to get worse.
If there is a society, if we're alive next Tuesday, we'll have another great episode for you. But we'll see what happens in Iran tonight.
Yeah, we'll see.
Seriously, kind of worried of that.
Yeah, try not to think about it, frankly.
But I do have to run to a meeting, so I have to go, Anthony. And to our valuable listeners, we love you. Thank you.
Thank you to our beautiful listeners. We'll see you next week, folks. We love you.